everybody. I hope you all are doing great. Thank you so much for joining this webinar, which is hosted by the Pilog Group. My name is Zulaikha Khan, and I'm working as a Business Development Officer at the Pilog Group. We really appreciate you all for taking your time out to attend our event today. I'm sure that we all are going to learn a lot from this webinar, Rethink Data and Analytics. A lot of circumstances have imposed us to rethink about data and analytics strategies. So if you have any questions, our panelists would be delighted to help you and answer to all your questions. We really encourage you to chat with them and they'll be able to assist you. I'm sure you would love our webinar and would be interested to watch it again or show it to your colleagues and friends. And you'd like to know more about data and analytics. So please contact us on email via our email address is webinars@pilogroup.org. Our website is www.pilogroup.com. Since our webinar is all about data and analytics, you can also download our Gartner's Magic Quadrant for Master Data Management Solutions 2021 report from our website. Our key speaker today is Mr. Imad Syed. He's the CEO for Pilog Middle East and APAC region. He's a strategic leader, a digital governance expert with over 19 years of cross-industry experience. He's a reliable advisor for enterprise data and analytics strategies. I would now like to leave this floor to Imad Syed. He's going to present this webinar. I hope you all enjoy this webinar.
Hello, everybody. A warm welcome to all the participants, and we appreciate you being here. So let's start the webinar. The agenda for today is a couple of things. Before that, many of you know about Pilog, but if you don't know about the Pilog, this is the right time for everybody to know where we started, because this year we are marking also 25 years of our substantial growth in the market. So, we will talk about Pilog, why Pilog, where we all started. It won't be more than a couple of minutes. And then a good announcement to make at this particular stage or platform is the Gartner MQ for MDM announcement. We have been recognized by Gartner as part of the Magic Quadrants. So that's really something that we take pride about, and we also thank all our customers for making us count on us. And then what is data analytics, why, how of it? We will go through certain codes, certain predictions, and then we will talk about the Pilog's products and services portfolio. And this event, we are actually conducting this event to talk about data and analytics governance in the market and its importance. Plus, there are a lot of products that we will be launching. So we generally launch every 6 months, few products as well as some services. So we will be launching some products, some breathtaking products, some, game changers here, and really from the futuristic technology perspective. So iTransform is a ETL tool that we will be launching. iVisualize is the analytics, because analytics is making it's actually ending up in the strategies for large organizations. And then smart data consolidation. During the COVID times, we have seen that a lot of businesses went bankrupt, they could not really move forward. And we have also, noticed that this year and next year, it will be a lot of mergers and acquisition. So when you do the mergers and acquisition, you need to do data consolidation, and it could be done, for materials or services or products or anything. But we have taken a use case of Material Master for smart data consolidation. How do you do that? And then data profiling and analysis. We all know that the organizations are transforming from normal business to the data science business. They are recruiting a lot of data science experts and also establishing CDO, Chief Data Officer or Chief Data Office as part of the organization roadmaps. So we will look into, how data profiling is made very easy. You do not have to know lot about the tools and techniques because we have encapsulated all of that into our platform. You can run your data profiling, simple profiling, advanced profiling, correlations from the data science perspective, and that's also a cloud tool that we will talk about. And then ESPIR, since the mergers and acquisitions are happening, and also a lot of expansions and capital projects are also being started, and especially in Middle East and some other parts of the world as well, we thought that why don't we put down a strategy and a solution to consolidate the master data management, especially from the capital projects perspective, because we all know that projects are the biggest culprit when it comes to mismanagement of data, data quality, data acquisition, data establishment, governance, and all of that. So that we will be talking about. And then we also have to talk about the entire enterprise process optimization. So the industry is transforming. Everybody would like to have bots, automated stuff, robotic process automation, ML, AI, digital transformation. But where do you start? I mean, you will have to look at your old legacy processes. Even though those have been customized for a specific ERP, we can look at holistically uh, the entire process optimization, how it is, what we can, what is the maturity level of that, and then where we can take it further. So that is something that we can look at. And what are those processes that we can automate it? I mean, that we can, add the boards. We have recently released a couple of boards, which is automated stuff. It is not driven by the humans, but it is triggered by certain events. And in case of data extraction as well, we can automate it, we can schedule it, and it runs it on its own. Or, certain triggers will enable the next movement or next step in the process. So that's what we will look at. And then the user experience is another one that, everybody is looking at user experience, because customers would be happy if all the business users are happy. So we will look at that, from the user experience perspective. We are bringing dark theme to all our MDRM platforms. So this entire digital and analytics suite, we are also bringing dark theme because that has become a trend, and we are also bringing multicolor that can actually, align with the respective ERPs. So there are, some nice, cool features out of the UI and UX enhancements. We'll go through that, and then we will leave few minutes for the Q&A. But that doesn't mean that you cannot ask questions. We have dedicated panelists on this call, on this webinar, who can, continuously answer your questions. So let's move on. And moving on, if you look at Pilog, where all started, it was in South Africa in 1996. That's why I said that it is 25th year. And then we actually developed the first integrated content and software solution with the MDM as a perspective, Ramis. And then we have ventured it into international market. Then we started acquiring a lot of customers in Africa, Middle East, Russia, and US. And then we established the data innovation labs in India as well as RSA. And we have always been captured by the ISO standards. So we started aligning everything with the ISO standards. And the new technology platform at that point in time in 2008, we started with MDRM v7, and then we moved into real-time integrations there, SAP, Oracle, and Maximo, and then business expansion across industries from 2011 to 2015. Then our first release of SAP MDGM co-innovation came in 2017 with several other certifications with the SAP. We have not stopped there. We have actually extended other integrations with other ERP providers as well. And then futuristic technology platform, which is what we are at this point in time offering in the market, Infinity as well as Vision. There are two different platforms with separate business cases with intelligence framework in it. And that's the futuristic technology we started in 2017. And until now, we have, quite a good number of customers, utilizing this technology. And then data and analytics solution based engineering. This is what we have introduced last year. And it has a lot of traction in the market because we are not just proposing something in the air, we bring the value engineering perspective into it. We bring the ROI perspective into it. We bring in the assessment and optimization perspective into that. And then we were recognized by Gartner, Voice of Customer for MDM solutions in 2020. And the big announcement actually is we have been recognized as part of Magic Quadrants for MDM Solutions 2021. And this year we are releasing also Pilot Data Quality Hub, which is a data and analytics suite. And all the add-ons that you see would be actually part of that platform of the platform's data quality hub. So that's our journey. It's just 25 years. And then Gartner recognitions, if you look at it, because you need to be recognized by some independent researchers, you need to be recognized by some renowned organizations. And we have been named as niche player for 2021 in Gartner's Magic Quadrant for Mass Data Management Solutions. You see there, we have been introduced as a niche player, and we would like to, our intention is actually to move into the next quadrants as well. And then Gartner Peer Insights, if you look at it, how our customers are liking us, you can see 4.4 rating, and all these are the reviews published. And the previous year we were customer choice for the MDM solutions, and that's also one of the good recognitions for us, because there are about 15 vendors in the world who get this kind of recognition by Gartner. So this was the pilot recognition that came from Gartner as a niche player in Gartner's Magic Quadrant. You can see that. And then we were also the customer choice for 2020. And then data and analytics predictions. Let's look at this, because predictions are important. The research has been conducted from the technology perspective, business perspective. So what is the first prediction? First prediction says that by 2024, about 30% of the organization would like to actually transform themselves going forward by investing into data and analytics governance. That's the insight that we are getting. Why? Because business impact, they would like to increase trusted insights and new efficiencies. That's the reason. But look at the other one. This quote is really, bothering, concerning a lot of organizations, is that out of that, 80% of organizations seeking to scale digital business using data and analytics governance, they will fail. This is not actually a negative statement, but it is a cautious statement. Why they would fail? The reasons. We need to know the reasons so that we can contribute within our organizations, we can contribute within the industry groups, we can also enable others, because as thought leaders, we will have to give this kind of information back to the industry, back to the peers, back to the organization, back to our customers and partners, saying that please do not fail. Because what are the reasons for failure? Over ambitious objectives or goals, such as it could be that let's have the analytics platform next year, without thinking about where does the metadata lies, what is the master data impact, where are the transactions, whether our processes are optimized. So that's an over ambitious goal. Or it could be bad legacy data. Until and unless we have analyzed and profiled the data, we will not know whether it is the right data or not. So bad legacy data is also hampering the entire execution of data and analytics governance. And then limited governed data. And these are the chronic issues. Every organization has got chronic issues that are coming in, probably because of the older applications, probably because of the older data sources, or probably because of the homegrown applications that are causing the bad data or limited governance of the data. Such as one customer we were talking to, only 10% of their customer master is governed, 90% is not governed. So it is coming out of Excel, directly getting loaded into the target systems. So that is also one of the pain points. That is why those businesses will fail, because it's a limited governed data. And then unmatured processes and systems. Probably the systems are also suffocating with the inefficiencies. and systems and these processes also have the bottlenecks, and that is also something that we will have to look at. And then the wrong stakeholders and role players. Many a times a wrong decision in terms of choosing your stakeholder or choosing your data leaders is also uh, contributing to the failures in terms of this kind of transformation. That's why it's also advised that you don't have the really the biggest team, all the best guys, but they are not agreeing on anything, they are not moving forward. So we need the right efficient leaders. There are a lot of research papers that have been published, but if you would like to know more about it, how we can overcome these kind of challenges going forward in terms of transforming the businesses, please reach out to us. We'll be able to help you. And then the other thing is that we need to have the agile approach. Agility should be there. If there is no agility, then we will always have stock standard, very hardened processes which cannot be disintegrated, which cannot be separated. So we need to have loosely coupled integration. We need to have loosely coupled processes, which means that there should be more agility into that. So we have spoken about the data and analytics predictions and what are these cautions that we need to take if we have to move forward in this journey. Now, if you look at the assessment, and this is another survey, after that we'll dive into the entire approach and the methodology of it. So data and analytics assessment survey, the survey was conducted to understand what measures or what, how do they monitor the data and analytics governance? How do they assess it? How do they measure it? So if you look at it, 27% they say that measure against compliance standards, which is definitely a good measure, because if you comply with certain standards, if you comply with regulatory standards, if you comply with any of the other industry standards, then at least we all are talking the same language, we have the same semantics, we have the same syntax, we have the same data structures, or more or less same. And then the other one is the measure in information culture and behavior, 18%, and governance scorecards agreed upon by senior business area leaders. That's also some part of measurement or assessment. And then the other one is governance dashboards that directly connect business key initiatives. This is also another very good measure, that what are your organization's key initiatives and what are the KPIs for that, and align with those KPIs or key initiatives and make sure that you assess against that. That's also good. A set of KPIs that we measure and number of severity of incidents relating to governance. This is actually reactive governance, the 7% one. And then the last one, which is really absolutely disappointing to see, that do not assess, measure, or monitor data and analytics governance. 42%, a mammoth 42%, close to half of the organizations, they do not measure. So if you do not measure, we will not know whether it is right or wrong. So how good is the data quality? And that's why we need to have always the measurements, and measurements come from putting down a solid foundation of metadata and solid foundation of industry benchmarks, solid foundation of industry practices and standards. And that's where we come in, and then we preach about these things. We actually prescribe and describe how this whole journey should be started. And one quick glance on the entire data and analytics governance market. If you look at it, data and analytics market, what are the different perspectives of this data and analytics market? So it's you could either have programs, practices, or service providers to do the data and analytics strategies, or you could have data and analytics platforms within the organizations, or you have a strategy, value, and innovation for the data and analytics strategies, or you could have governance. So these are the four different perspectives from the strategies perspective. This is where any organization could take one or more of these perspectives when they are looking into the data and analytics platforms or the market. But what are the use cases? If you look at the use cases, what are the critical capabilities that are required for the successful implementation of data and analytics governance is definitely strategy and consulting that is required. Data management and implementation, that's also absolutely required. And if you do not have the strategy, you won't be able to implement it. And then AI or analytics and BI implementation is another one. So business intelligence, which means that you need to have full insights into the business objects there, and data science and AI ML implementation. So these are the four use cases that are common, in any organization. So if we look at these ones and how we would prescribe or how we would advise or suggest or recommend going forward with the data and analytics governance, let's look at that. First of all, we need to understand the anatomy of the entire enterprise data. If we do not understand the enterprise data thoroughly, then we will not be able to establish any governance or any policies or procedures or standard operating procedures around them. So if you look at it, the foundation of any enterprise data should be metadata, which means the dictionaries, taxonomies, libraries, glossaries, repositories, ontologies. And then we can control, we can measure, we can have semantics and syntax for the master data if we have the right metadata. And what is the master data? It could be any of these, or it could be more than this as well: assets, materials, products, employees, services. And if we have established the metadata and master data perfectly, then our transactions would come out also with the right information. Many a times we walk into the customer, we look at their transactions, there's seldom some valuable information available. So what kind of analytics you would perform out of it? So transaction data is nothing but, it could be anything: sourcing and contracting information, day-to-day transactions, orders and sales, or invoices and documents, or payrolls and claims, or any ARs or APs, or any subscriptions, payments, or it could be several other. There are thousands of different types of transactions that every enterprise runs every day, and every day transaction data is growing and growing, and it becomes toxic at one point in time that you cannot get any value out of it. It has been used to only operate the business, but there's no value, there's no insights in it. And that's where, analytics data, you cannot analyze it. And the biggest challenge today in this world is that the transaction data is sick, because the processes are sick, because the integration with the data points and master data within the processes is sick. That's the reason analytics cannot be derived out of the transaction data. If you cannot derive the right analytics, all the business decisions will go for a toss. So what we say is foundation is metadata and master data, and then the transaction data would be healthy. Once you have the healthy and right transaction data based upon the refined processes, then the analytics can be derived. What kind of analytics can be derived? Spend cubes. It could be in any business. Everybody would like to know what is the spend, what is the profitability, what is the return on investment. These are the things that everybody would like to know. So that is the analytics cubes. And then business performance. How does my business perform compared to the previous quarter of this year? So last year's quarter to this quarter, what exactly is the business growth, and how much we have spent, and what was our profitability, and all those things you would be able to analyze it if you have the right set of these three data sets. And also digital dashboards. Everybody talks about digital dashboards. We also hear from the organizations claiming that yes, we have digitized everything, but if you really look at go into their digital boardrooms and look at it, the data that is coming out is sick. Many a times by looking at the graph itself, you would be able to find out that there is something wrong with the data. So rather than fixing the foundation, everybody is just trying to put down some digital dashboards, and it's not digitization. Digitization means you should be able to get the right insights, right business analytics out of it, and the KPIs and SLAs out of the transaction data generated out of that. Not putting it via an Excel spreadsheet, or not manipulating or manifesting that. No, it has to come automated, it has to be orchestrated. And then the predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics. I'm not sure how many organizations are there ready for the predictive as well as the prescriptive analytics, because these are actually forecasting how something will change, forecasting how the demand would change, forecasting how the consumption would change, all of that. So Our suggestion is that start with the metadata and then you can grow it out to the master data, transaction data, analytics data. Many organizations, they are starting from the reverse direction. They start at analytics data and then they say that, oh, sorry, transactions are wrong. And they try to correct the transactions. And then, they see that master data is wrong, metadata is wrong. Then, they lose a lot of time and they fail. Now, the three things that we propagate and highly recommend is three things is that first, consolidate and collaborate. If you cannot consolidate, collaborate. So what does that mean? Acquire the data from all the sources. If you are trying to establish your customer master, or if you are trying to establish a true version of vendor master or material master, consolidate all the data sources where the data lies. If you cannot consolidate, collaborate, which means that you do not have to bring it into one system, but you can actually take the data snippets out of it on regular basis, so you can collaborate it. And then once you do that, standardize it, harmonize it using industry specific standards or taxonomies. There should be some standard. Otherwise, how will we determine that what is mandatory, what is not mandatory, what should be the list of values, what are the permissible values, what are the standard values for that? We won't be able to do that. And what is allowed, what is disallowed, what is correct and what is incorrect, what is null, what is not null. So those are the things that comes from the taxonomies, that comes from the ontologies and standards. And then once you are done with that, establish a single version of truth, and then sign, enforce the intelligent processes, around that data. And also not that any data that in future that need to be onboarded, they must also go through, those processes must also go through the same intelligent processes that have been established. So the first thing is that consolidation and collaboration of it. The second thing is governance and orchestration. Why orchestration is important? Because orchestration is something that runs on its own. It's a process orchestration, or it could be data orchestration. So it's not that somebody will have to extract the data out of Excel and then load it into other system. Automate that one, and then put down the governance around that. That's where we can also put down some of the RPAs or the boards, robotic process automation, that we can bring it. And when we establish the governance should be established in order to evaluate the quality of the data, in order to evaluate the maturity of the processes. If we are not establishing those, then we won't be able to evaluate and assess. And that would be, again, like that survey's answer, that there's no assessment of the maturity levels. And then the third one is analytics and business performance. Once we have done both of these, then establish a digital analytics platform. It's not just taking Excel reports and trying to transpose this, or trying to create a pivot and this is wonderful report. You will prepare it once, and next time again you will have to repeat it. That's why have and invest or subscribe to the platform where you can automate this. You don't even have to work through this. So anything that is a repetitive stuff, let us orchestrate it. Anything that requires certain triggers for a decision, put it as part of the orchestration of it. And that's what we are always recommending. And at the end of it, evaluate the benefits and establish the return on investment. And that's the whole objective here. And then if you look at what is the vision that every enterprise or organization should have, think about data quality hub. I know that it is too early. They have named data marts, a lot of other things, but they are not yet ready with the orchestration and process integration, process optimization, everything automated into it, and utilizing the capabilities of the data science, and which is the ML and artificial intelligence and deep learning and all of those techniques. So we recommend, and we actually, as a thought leaders, we are recommending to all the organizations, saying that please have a vision to establish a data quality hub. And what should be part of data quality hub? We will go through that now. So if you look at the data quality hub, Data quality hub should have these capabilities, these 5, 6 capabilities. One is it should have the data acquisition capability or data acquisition framework, which means you should be able to connect to any source, any database. So pre-built connectors should be there, real-time data acquisition should be there, and we should be able to simulate it, automate it, and that's also something. And not only that, profiling should also be done, because you don't just acquire the data, but later on you also do the profiling or the analysis of that. And then the data streaming, which means that if you have transaction data which runs into hundreds of millions or billions of records, you cannot export it and do it. So data streamers should be there as part of that. And then the second one is data harmonization. Any data harmonization normalization, if it is in thousands of records, you can do it manually. But if it runs hundreds of thousands, you won't be able to do it. You need systems, you need artificial intelligence and machine learning, or the automation part of it, in order to enrich it, in order to normalize it, in order to assess the quality of it. And then the third one is data governance, because once you have done the harmonization, data governance is something that really is required in terms of the entire create, change, extend, delete, undelete, merge, split, match, validate, archive, unarchive, link, delink, whatever the data manipulation that you would like to do, be it a change process or be it any extension process or any process, we need to have the proper governance for that and establish a data quality dashboard as well for the same thing in the form of infographics. And then the fourth one is data integration. So any tool that you look at, you need to have the integration capabilities. When we talk about integration, it has to be seamless integration. It is not offline integration. It is not batch mode. Those should be there, but seamless data integration, synchronization, syndication, orchestration, distribution. So web services based integration is important. And then the last but not the least is the iData analytics process, which means business performance insights, CXO dashboards. So any data hub that you would like to establish need to have these capabilities. If we do not have these capabilities, then it would be difficult. And this is just an architecture of the same data quality hub, and this is Pilog's data quality hub. It can connect with various data sources and also different targets. And we have all the intelligent processes around that. And if you look at Pilog's business, where we can add value, value engineering solutions is that enterprise data strategy. We are really good on that. Supply chain management, we can really do a deep dive exercise into supply chain management, and we can guarantee that there is significant returns on that. Asset lifecycle management is another one. Data governance and analytics, data quality management, business partner lifecycle management. So these are the 6 bubbles or 6 streams or value themes that we have established, and everything around that you see, we are expert in that, and we will be able to advise you on that. And let's quickly go into the new products and services launch. What are we launching? Majority of these products are available on cloud on subscription basis. However, if our customers would like to deploy them on premise, okay, that is also available with the analytics platform. So Pilog has got analytics platform, which is iVisualize. We'll be able to deploy some of that. Now let's look at what are those products that we are launching today. iTransform, ETL, extract, transform, and load. This is, you will see now a video. You will all witness, how powerful it is. And then iVisualize for the analytics, different types of analytics. And we are spending huge on the cubes because that brings in real value for our customers. And then ESPIR for CapEx, MDM, data profiling and analysis. You would see that how our platform, you don't have to really buy heavy platform, subscribe to it. You bring in your data, do the analysis, and take the results back with those kind of subscription. And then process optimization, and then smart consolidation. We will watch the video of that, and also we will go through the new UI or UX features. So these are the 7 products or the subscription based stuff we are launching today. Let's go into that. So this is a Pilog iTransform. I will stop where required. And the ETL capabilities, if you look at it. So why we require an ETL? In day-to-day business, if you look at the use cases of the ETL, application landscape consolidation, because if we are actually bringing in multiple applications into one platform, or we are trying to optimize the applications and consolidate it, definitely you require the data out of that also to be merged, to be carved out. So that's one. And then centralization of the businesses, and this is what everybody is driving it. So centralization of the businesses, if you would like to do that, then we require the ETL tool. And then harmonization of data and processes, definitely ETL is required. And mergers and acquisition, that's a big yes there. And upgrades and new implementations, upgrading of multiple platforms or a single platform or an ERP or anything, you would require, moving the data out of one system and moving it to the other system. And then establishing, business intelligence or consolidation of data sources. All these are the use cases for the ETL. And in the past, ETL used to be a big tool that you have to deploy, that you have to implement it on premise. But this ETL tool is available on cloud. That's the beauty of it. Absolutely, it is available on cloud, and with the storage, staging area storage, so you can in fact connect to any of your data sources, subscribe to it, number of users, and also term license is also available, which means that ETL is not used throughout the lifetime. So you can even opt for the term license as well, couple of quarters, 2 quarters, or 1 year, whatever it is. And after that subscription, then you don't need it, then don't take it. So it's based on the subscription. And then if you look at the connectivity of this ETL platform, it can connect to any data source, absolutely any data source that is in practice at this point in time. And it can also connect to some of the older versions of the databases or the data sources as well. So, different data sources, and it can transform the data. There are various transformations that are readily available. And why ETL process is important for data maturity or data harmonization and so on and so forth. Because if you would like to build in data lakes, if you would like to build in data warehouses, data hubs, definitely ETL is required. And if we are consolidating the application data management or master data management or metadata management, you require the ETL, because the data is not sitting in one source or one destination table. You need to bring it from the others. And especially the trend now is that many of the ERP customers, whoever are on Oracle EBS, they are moving to Oracle Fusion Cloud, and SAP ECC, they are moving to S4, which means ETL is required. And then the other feature, is that why our ETL is really the best ETL, because it is not just connecting, extracting, loading. You would see now what are those things that we do differently from the other ETLs. Such as, if you look at this slide, connect, we can connect to various sources, extract it, assess there itself. So data profiling you can do immediately, and transform. A lot of transformation rules will be readily available, will be built in, and we can also help with building that. And it's not, we are not just selling the tool, even the service, the entire data migration as well, we have the capability to do that as well. And validate the data between the source and destination, or the staging areas, or the production, as well as the dev and QA instances. Load it, reconcile it, consume it, and automate it. And automate is really the important, because if I give you a scenario where ERP upgrade is happening, but not all the modules have been upgraded, certain data need to be still more migrated into staging area later on as well, because you would like to have some overlap time between the old and the new system. Then you can automate it. We'll show you how you can automate it, and that's the robotic process automation. Or you can create a small job and then make it as a bot, and that works on its own. And cloud-based platform, easily accessible for business user. And now this is the demo of it. If you look at it, we are now connecting to a S4 HANA database. and then extracting the data from that particular table. You can see that. So we have connected to S4 HANA system. We are connected to SAP ECC system. So we are now extracting the data out of ECC system and we'll move that into S4 HANA system. See all the mappings, there are predefined mappings, and this is the data that is available in the ECC system, and this is the data that is available in HANA. There was nothing. Let's run that transformation. You would see that now. We are processing it. You can see that those records have been pushed. And if you look at the data, there's the data. You can see that's the data that has been updated with the transformation. And then the other one, this is where you can actually schedule a job and make it a robotic process. We don't have to do anything. Now we are scheduling a job that to extract the data out of SAP or any ERP system into MDRM, all the differences, whatever those differences are there. Now, if you run this and automate it, let's run the job. You would see it now. That's the data that is loaded. So you can automate as well. I mean, that's the beauty of it. It's not something that you use it once. If there is any repetitive task that you would like to do, you would be able to do it. Look at the next one. So this is the OLAP. If you look at the OLAP, it's a cube. You can create an OLAP cube for spend or for profitability or for anything that is related to analytics, where you would like to do a slice and dice of it, roll up, drill down, or pivot up. So this cube is showing just the concept: Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 in 4 quarters. These are the commodities and these are the countries. We can actually interpret it that maybe these are the commodities that are sold in these quarters within these countries, or we can also consider that maybe these are the commodities on which a company has spent, and this was the source, or this was where it was consumed. So we can also understand from that perspective as well. So if you look at this cube, we can actually do a slice and dice of it, which means that this slice we can take it up, or we can take a dice of it and get the data out of it, drill down of it, roll up of it, and also the pivot of it. And you would see it how we do that. And cubes could be multi-dimensional, 2-dimension to multi-dimension. So you can do the roll up of that. An example wherein we say that you roll it up, what is there in the Q2 for that particular, then you can roll it up. Or you can do a drill down of it. And all these things, visually you can do it. We'll see that in a demo just now. So this is how you would understand, the slice and dice. So the left side one is the slice, and then the right side one is the dice. Okay, these are all the different graph types. Let's look at the cube first. If you look at our analytics platform, this is the analytics platform, and there are various graphs that are available, be it geographic graph, organization graphs, or bubble graphs, or correlation graphs, or cubes. Let's look at now the cube, how you can create a cube, because not many people are focusing on the cubes, because the capability to build the cubes also depends upon what kind of metadata, master data is available within the system. So this example shows this example actually shows the entire different dimensions of the cubes. Take the cube, the visualization, and this is something that you can visualize it, you can rotate it, you can take a slice of it, you can take a dice of it. You would see now. Okay, it is showing the report there for the selected one, or you can do a multi-select of that and see the report, what is the value for that, or you can see the entire report. So that's about cubes. And then ESPIR management. ESPIR, it's an electronic spare parts interchangeability record, and it is mostly used in the brownfield as well as the greenfield projects, wherein it consists of project management data, equipment master data, material master, vendor, plant maintenance, and sourcing and procurement data. So you can actually capitalize a lot more out of this ESPIR, because if you have any of these use cases within your organizations or partners, if you see that any customers would require this kind of, they are facing challenges from these use cases, you can actually utilize that. And what are the objectives? You can establish the master data across different systems, optimize the inventory, establish asset management practices, establish sourcing and contracting. And there are a lot of several benefits. Now, the benefits are now, from the entire customer perspective. And then warehouse cost reductions, and then procurement cost reductions, and then the maintenance, plant maintenance cost reduction. And this is a standard template which has got all the data within itself. And then we will acquire all this data via the solution and transform this data, harmonize this data, correlate this data, and then with our process orchestration, we'll push that into ERP systems. Let's look at that. This is the process flow for that. And generally the EPCs bring in this kind of spare parts data packages. And we look at that, and you acquire the data within the solution, you do the duplicate checks, you establish the right data and push it into any governance solution or into the ERP system. So let's, we also have a demo of the same thing. Let's quickly look at that. And we have readily available integration of ESPIR with SAP ECC is obvious because that's the old one, but even with S4HANA as well as SAP MDG as well. So SAP MDG materials as well as SAP MDG EAM, we have the integration. And apart from the SAP integration, we also have the Oracle integration and other Maximo integrations as well. So material master, we can integrate it, and also the asset master also we can integrate it into Oracle or Maximo. And let's quickly look at the demo of that. This is the ESPIR process. This is just the sheet that we are going to load now. Once this data is loaded, you can see we are attaching that sheet, which has got some records. We are going to process only a single record. We are assigning a class. This is, everything is on the cloud solution. You validate it. And if everything is okay, then you register that record and then process through it. And you can see how nice descriptions are generated, and all of them are system driven. And then you can, transfer that data into SAP. Before that, populate all the SAP fields that are required. And then we transfer that into SAP system. You would see that now in SAP system, how it is created. That's how it has created it in SAP system. And then from this, we will be also able to establish from the ESPIR, the entire asset hierarchy. We'll be able to establish the entire equipment to the spare parts viewer. So that's about ESPIR. And then the data profiling. Why profiling is important and why business users need to really use this tool, because they cannot go to a data science guy and ask him, okay, can you please do the profiling and give it to me? So this tool is aimed at every business user who is a data steward or a data governance analyst or a data manager or a process analyst. So these stakeholders definitely need to do the data profiling. Let's look at the material master profiling. This is, let us suppose from some source we have acquired this data. You would see that now we are connecting it into our ETL tool, wherein we can drag and drop. We don't even have to do anything, drag and drop the Excel, and that's the Excel that we have brought in. And we can transform that data into a table, and then we will be able to perform the analysis on that. So we are bringing that Excel data into a table, and you can create as many as temporary tables for the data analysis. You map all of that, and it automatically maps it, all the headers. And this is the analysis. Once you perform the analysis, this is the analysis. It says that class has high cardinality, purchasing group, all this, it gives you all the insights, and the business users or the master data stewards would be able to understand, or the governance stewards would be able to understand that what are the different variables in that, and what type of commodities are there in that, and how many plants are involved, how many different UMs are there, and also how many material types are there. So it does all of that, and you can actually even do the personalization as well. And what are the common values across different sets? And short description wise, what are the lengths of it? How distinct they are? Are there any duplicates in that? What is missing in it? And different types of graphical representations are there. And different correlations. What are missing values in that? Heat maps, dendrograms as well. What are the duplicate rows? So it gives you full insights. And then let's look at vendor or the party data profiling. Let's quickly look at that as well. This is a sample vendor data coming out of a different source. And what we are doing here is that we take it and put it into a table, and from there we run it. This is a simple transformation. You can drag and drop and export that data into a table so that you can actually run your processes. And this is all automated process written in latest languages that are related to data science. And you can give your own name to the table so that you can have it look at later on as well. And all the data type, you can set everything. It's quite easy. Now, if you run this, so this is a different data. So what kind of different email IDs are there? Are they really valid or invalid? How many duplicate rows are there? Which formats are wrong? All of that. And you can add few more as well. So from the configuration perspective, you'd be able to add a lot of that. And compliance of the national IDs or any other IDs, bank IDs, IFSC codes, IBAN codes, all of that as well you can do it, because we have the repository to refer it. So that's on the data profiling. and other representations as well, from the graphical representations for easy understanding and analytics perspective. And you can export this report out of the system, and then you can use it, present it. So it's easy, and it's a cloud-based subscription. And then next one, we take the existing processes, and then we make sure that, so what we do is we take the as-is processes, and then we look at the maturity of it. And you can see that there is a maturity scale up there, which shows how mature the process are. You can see, we look at those processes, and then we do the gap analysis of it, and the maturity of the processes is low here, and there are certain that are at a medium level, but there are very little which are at a better level or the higher level, and this is the as is process maturity. What we do is we look at that, and then we go through our value engineering process in terms of improving it and enabling a lot of RPAs or the boards within that. So we automate the stuff as well. So this is the analysis for master data analytics. And then the process that we have taken in this example is S2P process, wherein we have identified what are the technology gaps, what are the value leaks for that. And then based upon that, our tailor-made approach is this. So first thing is the planning. We look at, who are the right stakeholders that need to be involved in that, and what is the setup that we require in terms of the process study, as the study of that, and stakeholder workshop, and then discovery and diagnostic process. We go through all of that for the compliances of it, and then we do the process modeling of it, and then try to find what are the gaps within the process. And this specifically for source to pay, or generally it is also procure to pay or purchase to pay. So it's a source to pay process. And strategy management as well from the S2P processes. What is the earned value management? What are the different integration points that we can bring it into the process? How we can automate that? And then implementation roadmap. We give the roadmap based upon that can be implemented. So it's a cross-industry S2P process. This is not specific for any industry, but this is cross-industry. If you have any queries on that, how we can do that, or how we can help, please get in touch with us. So from where the process maturity was low to, we intend to bring it into more greener color, which means that on a higher process maturity. That's the whole objective of it. And if you look at this one, master and metadata analytics as well, you would see most of these blocks are green or darker green, which means that the maturity has increased. So that's what we do from the process optimization perspective. And then from the consolidation perspective, again, we have taken material consolidation as one of the use cases here. The reason for that is many a times material is associated with a lot of cost, inventory, warehouse cost, shipping cost, sourcing, contracting. So there is always a significant value in actually going with a inventory optimization or the material consolidation rather than the other business objects. So so that's just a workflow of it. But if you look at the consolidation of it, and this is just the valve, you can see that it automatically found that there are two valves exactly similar within the database, and nobody had to search for it. System smartly detects it, and it shows you based upon your filter criteria. And you can see the system has also identified the other groups that are identical or duplicate. And smartly what it does is it brings both of them next to each other, and it allows you to make one master, the other one is supersede, so that you can retain one record and merge the other record. And not only just merging the record, but also marking the flag in the ERP systems for stopping the procurement and also the inventory movement of that. So I'm running this very quickly, but I would show you that once the consolidation is done, how the data look like. Now, if you look at it, we are merging the data, two data records, and exactly the same record is actually superseded by the other record, which means that we have reduced the master data footprint, and we have also improved the inventory and warehouse cost as well, optimized it. Now, this is within the SAP. If you look at it, and if somebody would like to use that material, it immediately says that deletion flag is set at plant level, which means we are not leaving that after consolidation. We are also making sure that we put a delete flag so that nobody else uses it. And if anybody would like to use that, then they will have to use the master material. You can see that superseded by that material. So it gives you a direction that, okay, that's the master material. And in this way, we have said millions for our customers. So that was one. And then the last one is the user interface. These days, user interfaces need to be very, very cool, because people are working throughout that system, throughout the day with that particular system, and it is sometimes also hurting their eyes. That's the reason we brought in different color themes here, because sometimes one theme will not address or actually help everybody. So that's why we brought in different themes here. And apart from that, if you look at our solutions are fully browser based, fully secured UI, and security is there at every transaction level, every thread level, and it's a multilingual system. And not only that, even the login as well is fully secured. You can see CAPTCHA is there. Not only CAPTCHA, even the two-factor authentication is also there, which means that even an OTP, one-time password, is also generated. So that is how secure the system is. And it is up to the customers to implement it, but we have enabled all these as part of our solution. And this is the look and feel. And if you look at it, this is one of the themes. There are three themes. One is the blue theme, the other one is multicolor theme, and then the dark theme. This is a dark theme that people can use depending upon how much light they have in the room, depending upon what is soothing their eyes rather than hurting them. So these three themes also can be adapted within MDRM solutions. So all our customers, if you would like to have this add-on, please contact us. We will be able to deploy this. This is an add-on, and you can talk to the our customer associates, our customer representatives, and then look at what is the effort that is required for that. And you can see such a nice look and feel here. It's a multicolor because there are certain ERPs that are also going some of the multicolor. So just to match with that as well. And it's an Excel kind of look and feel is there in that. A lot of personalization is there in terms of and it's seamless look and feel. It's absolutely beautiful look and feel. And also the dark theme as well. You can see that if you have really the lights on, and you can actually switch on the dark theme, that would not hurt you. And this is for those business users who work tirelessly throughout the day, and 8 hours a day in front of the system, because we know that there are thousands of users who are actually working 8 to 10 hours on our system every day. And this is for those. And we also know that a lot of organizations are actually trying to take care of employee and improve their employee experience. So this is really would be a gift from the organizations to the business users if they would like to give or get these particular themes implemented for our solutions. And it is seamless. It is across infographics. It is across all of it. All the notifications, everything is transformed into these three themes. And you can see even the cubes as well. So that's it from my side. I think I have overshot by maybe 3 or 4 minutes. But in the meantime, I'm sure all of you have enjoyed this, and I'm also looking forward to talking to all our customers in order to get what kind of impact or what kind of significance that we can add to our MDRM platforms or our data and analytics platform.
Please feel free to write to us on our email address, webinars@pilotgroup.org for more information. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great day ahead.